Or you don't know, we are the third largest political party in the United States of America. The Green Party claims the same thing, so I think we're close. I don't know how that works. I will say our presidential candidate did get more votes than the Green Party's presidential candidate, although she was wonderful too. And some of us in this room are a little green, or work very closely with the Green Party. We actually have a very good relationship with the Green Party locally and at the statewide level, and it looks like even nationally that we would work together to fight ballot access issues. We've even had our candidates work together with their campaigns somewhat. So we do have a lot in common with them, but we do differ on some things. We're looking forward to working with them, possibly for possible cross-endorsing of candidates this year, next year, but also in something that we're forming together, hopefully, called the Monroe County Third Party Coalition, where we're going to work together on the things that we agree on. And you know, I think both of our parties would agree that the two major parties have a certain effect on our culture, and that's a divisive effect. They want to polarize people, and they've proven it time and time and time again. And we see that our two parties have some things in common and a lot of things that we don't share in common, but we all have a heart to serve our communities, and we all have a heart to see some serious reform in our government. So what we're planning on doing is taking our the things that we agree on, taking a focus there, and agreeing to disagree on the things that we don't agree on, and kind of just let those things sit in the back burner and work on the things together that we do agree on, and in so doing proving that two separate parties can work together on the things, and we're not going to polarize people. We're going to bring people together. So one of the things we want to do is work with them on ballot access issues, and also just to break the two-party stranglehold system that we have, and in the city of Rochester, the one-party system. So that we're looking forward to maybe seeing where that goes. But right now I'm going to talk about the Libertarian Party and stop talking about the Green Party. So again, I'm Drew Beeman. I'm the current chair of this party, the local chapter of the Libertarian Party. And my speech is going to be a lot of reading, unfortunately, because I'm going to be reading from our different parties, some things off the website and our platform and statement of principles and stuff. So bear with me as I'm reading, and some of it is because I also didn't rehearse the speech all that much, but I'm not really much on speeches, but I do want to make sure I make all the points in here, so we'll get started here. The American system of government was created in order to secure the rights of every individual, as the Declaration of Independence says, which I'm going to read a little bit here. You've probably heard this before. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men, and I'm going to add women, were created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That's why we have government, is to secure our individual rights. So our Constitution lays out the framework for this. And the Bill of Rights was added to ensure that we secure these particular rights as well. Luckily, there were those people that decided we need to add this to our Constitution right now. They were very smart. There might even be some more you could add to that. We'll see what the future brings. Our rights are not given to us by the Constitution. They are not given to us by the government. The government does not allow us to have these rights. It's not a privilege. It is a responsibility, however. These rights are inherent in our humanity. Now that's worded a little differently in what I just read. It says endowed by our Creator. Well, I'm not going to assume that everybody in this room believes in God or a Creator, so I'm going to say that they're inherent in our humanity. The United States of America was originally a very unique idea in that here would be a place where every individual and his or her rights would be protected from the tyranny of the majority. We don't live in a democracy. We have a democratic system, but we live in a republic, and there's a reason for that, a constitutional republic. And that's so that we can avoid the tyranny of the majority, so that it's not, 51% of the people say this, and then the 49 of us are like, really? It's stifling. I'm sure you've experienced it in some way. There was a time where the majority in this country believed that people whose skin is darker than all of us in this room, you didn't have the same rights. And unfortunately, we're the founding fathers that you're going to hear me talking about, and that we do honor, because the ideas that they had were wonderful. The application of those ideals, not so good, but we're working on that. You know, there was a time in this country where I believe interracial marriage became legal in what, 1963 or 7 or something like that? 67? Really? So there was a time where the tyranny of the majority ruled in marriage laws, and now the gay and lesbian and transgender community is working on marriage equality, which is another issue, which isn't necessarily a libertarian issue, but it's an issue where there is a majority of people that believed one way. Luckily now, I did see a poll. I saw one that said 49% approve of same-sex marriage, and I saw another one that said 58%. So the majority might finally be on our side, and we may like that, and that's good for moving progress along in our culture. But does that mean that that majority opinion is what we should all live by? No, I don't believe it does, and I don't believe the founders of this country believe that, and I don't believe that our system of government is set up to truly live that way. We should be protected as individuals from the tyranny of the majority. Those inherent individual rights trump any and all legislation and majority opinion. And I'm going to repeat that. Those inherent individual rights trump any and all legislation and majority opinion. We libertarians would like to see this idea truly realized in America. We take a stand for the rights of every individual choice and equality under the law. We believe in the principle of self-ownership. You own yourself and the fruit of your own labor. I'm going to use the word own a lot. You own the right to choose what you do or do not do with your own body and property. Libertarians believe in the freedom of choice for everything. There was a time when our motto was pro-choice in everything, which I think some of you might remember that. We believe in the principle of non-aggression. We do not believe in the initiation of force or fraud as a means to any end. I'm going to read from the Libertarian Party Statement of Principles that kind of put these two ideas together. We hold that all individuals have the right to exercise sole dominion over their own lives and have the right to live in whatever manner they so choose, so long as they do not forcibly interfere with the equal right of others to live in whatever manner they choose. We believe that in order to preserve the integrity of these principles, we must accept personal responsibility for all of our actions and promote personal responsibility in our society. And I do think that there is a major assault against that idea in our culture about personal responsibility. Not only do we have a nanny state system that wants to tell you what to do with your body, but it's for your own good, right? That's how they bring it out. And eventually, when we have socialized medicine, God forbid it actually happen in my opinion, but when we do have it, then that's going to give them a right in their minds to tell us what to do with our body because they're paying our medical bills. And they want to, preventative medicine says you must not do this, and you must not do this, and you must not do this. Because I don't want to pay, or the taxpayers, because we all know what it feels like to be a taxpayer and to complain about being taxpayers and paying for things we don't agree with, like drone strikes and dead children overseas and many other things. Well, then it's kind of the other side taking that argument now. Where they're going to say, oh, well, I'm paying for that, so you better stop smoking, and you better quit drinking, and you better do this, and do this, and do this, and don't do this. And I hope we don't see that day, but it sometimes looks like we might, unless we all fight. The Libertarian Party was founded in order to preserve these principles in our system of government and to preserve individual rights against the assault on individual rights by government itself, the government that's supposed to serve us and uphold our rights, and the tyranny of the majority. So I'm going to read a little bit from some things I gleaned off the website because there were some interesting ways of putting things, and it's changed recently, so bear with me here. The libertarian way is a logically consistent approach to politics based on the moral principle of self-ownership. Each individual has the right to control his or her own body, actions, speech, and property. Government's only role is to help individuals defend themselves from force and fraud. The only role of government. The Libertarian Party is for all who don't want to push other people around and don't want to be pushed around themselves. Live and let live, that's the Libertarian way. Libertarians believe the answer to America's political problems is the same commitment to freedom that earned America its greatness. The free market economy, and I'm going to say not capitalism, not crony capitalism, true capitalism. Not where we make regulations to make it difficult for the little guy so that the big corporations benefit. Don't believe for a minute that the liberals or so-called liberals hate the corporations. They may go out and rally in the parks for Occupy this and Occupy that, but the policies and the candidates they support the corporations that they supposedly hate. And if you don't believe me, ask Chris, he's been involved. And the other side, we can talk about the other side too, okay? Republican Party, they do the exact same thing. Both parties do the same thing. If it were really true, like people complain about the Koch brothers, right? And one of those must be those Koch brothers. I think they're sort of libertarian, I don't know. But everyone thinks they're libertarians, and they vilify the Koch brothers as these evil corporations. And maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't really know. I don't know them personally. I don't know exactly what goes on in their industries, but I will say this. If corporations really supported libertarians, then we would already have a libertarian president. We would already have libertarians taking over the government because the corporations had taken over the government. So if they really love libertarians and a truly free market, we'd have that, right? But we don't, because corporations do not benefit from a truly free market. They benefit from government giving them what they want, making regulations for them, so that the corporations and the big banks can take over this country and rule our lives and tell us what to do or what not to do. I think I got sidetracked, sorry. A free market economy and the abundance and prosperity it brings. Let me see. Libertarians believe that the answer to America's political problems is the same commitment to freedom that earned America its greatness, the free market economy I just spoke about, and the abundance and prosperity it brings. A dedication to civil liberties and personal freedom, and a foreign policy of non-intervention. Did you hear that? Non-intervention, not isolationism. Don't believe for a second that it's isolationism. A foreign policy of non-intervention, peace, and free trade, as prescribed by America's founders. Libertarians believe in and pursue personal freedom while maintaining personal responsibility. The Libertarian Party itself serves a much larger pro-liberty community with the specific mission of electing libertarians to public office. Libertarians strongly oppose any government interfering in their personal, family, and business decisions. Essentially, we believe all Americans should be free to live their lives and pursue their interests as they see fit, as long as they do no harm to others. And I might amend that a little bit and say to the environment to a degree that we're not polluting each other's air and water and things of that nature. So at this point I want to read this is the boring part, right? The entire preamble, because there's some very important things in here, and our statement of principle as well. As libertarians, we seek a world of liberty, a world in which all individuals are sovereign over their own lives, and no one is forced to sacrifice his or her values for the benefits of others. That's a big one. We believe that respect for individual rights is the essential precondition for a free and prosperous world, that force and fraud must be banished from human relationships, and that only through freedom can peace and prosperity be realized. Consequently, we defend each person's right to engage in any activity that is peaceful and honest, and welcome the diversity that freedom brings. The world we seek to build is one where individuals are free to follow their own dreams in their own ways, without interference from government or any authoritarian power. Our goal is nothing more nor less than a world set free in our lifetime, and it is to this end that we take these stands. That's from our preamble to our platform. We, the members of the Libertarian Party, challenge the cult of the omnipotent state and defend the rights of the individual. That's from our statement of principles. We hold that all individuals have the right to exercise sole dominion over their own lives and have the right to live in whatever manner they so choose, so long as they do not forcibly interfere with the equal right of others to live in whatever manner they choose. Governments throughout history have regularly operated on the opposite principle, that the state has the right to dispose of the lives of individuals and the fruits of their labor. Even within the United States, all political parties other than our own grant to government the right to regulate the lives of individuals and seize the fruits of their labor without their consent. We, on the contrary, deny the right of any government to do these things, and hold that where governments exist, they must not violate the rights of any individual. Namely, 1, the right to life. Accordingly, we support the prohibition of the initiation of physical force against others. 2, the right to liberty of speech and action. Accordingly, we oppose all attempts by the government to abridge the freedom of speech and press, as well as government censorship in any form. And 3, the right to property. Accordingly, we oppose all government interference with private property, such as confiscation, nationalization, and eminent domain, and support the prohibition of robbery, trespass, fraud, and misrepresentation. I'll add to that one, asset forfeiture. If you don't know what that is, look it up, because it's a wicked, evil thing that they do. Civil asset forfeiture. Since governments, when instituted, must not violate individual rights, we oppose all interference by government in the areas of voluntary and contractual relations among individuals. People should not be forced to sacrifice their lives and property for the benefits of others. They should be left free by government to deal with one another as free traders, and the resultant economic system, the only one compatible with the protection of individual rights, is the free market. So that's, again, from our preamble and statement of principles. So we, the Greater Rochester Libertarian Party, endeavor to be a viable alternative political party in the Greater Rochester area. Our mission is to run libertarian candidates, spread the libertarian message, and win. We endeavor to represent true liberty and freedom to the Greater Rochester community. So as a local chapter of this party, our main goal is to find and run candidates that can win, or can get the message out, or can just gain some progress. At this point of the game, we'll take any candidates that would like to step forward. So far this year, I don't think we have very many candidates that are running for 2013. And that's really the elections that this will be the first time in the history of our party since 2007 that we haven't had a local candidate running in the city of Rochester. So if anyone would like to run, that would be great. We'd love to have you. So that's unfortunate, but we'll look forward to the next year if it doesn't happen this year. But that's really what we ultimately would like to do, is we'd like to run local candidates. Like I said earlier, the chances that we'll elect a libertarian president or senators at this point is a little slim, unless you count Rand Paul as a libertarian, but that's up to you. So we're thinking, instead of a top-down kind of structure, just like Mr. Ricky shared with us earlier, it's a bottom-up. It's community organizing. It starts down here. This is where the people are. People aren't up here with the president, the king, King Obama, or King Bush, for that matter, where it's all, the power is all up here. We need the power to the people, and I wish we still had that. We need to say that more. I miss that. I was never alive for that, but I still miss that. Power to the people. So we want to start from the ground up. So we're going to organize locally. Our party is organized. Seems like we're doing pretty good. We've doubled our numbers in the past year. Probably a lot of thanks to Ron Paul, and a lot of thanks to Gary Johnson, and a lot of thanks to Cuomo and the Second Amendment. We got a bunch of new members just recently after he violated the Second Amendment. So that's, I don't want to thank Cuomo for that. That's probably
should thank him.
Yeah, thanks, Cuomo. Our numbers are swelling because of you. And I don't think changing it to 10 in a 10 cartridge magazine will make a difference. So anyway, what we'd like to do is get some candidates. We need to sit in city council. We need to sit in Chi-Li Town Board. We need to be in Pittsburgh. We need to be all over Monroe County. We need to be in Genesee County, but it looks like you guys are doing a good job with that already. We need to be in Ontario County. We need to be on, okay, where are we here? Anyone?
Orleans.
Wayne? Orleans? Wayne? Which one's Wayne? This one Wayne? See how much I know? Is Wayne, am I even right? Is it Wayne? Livingston.
Wayne.
Don't forget Livingston. Which is where we need Phil Rickeys to step in and help us really get established in each of these counties. And then they'll split off and have their own strong chapters. And then us little Monroe County people will still fight with the Democrats in the city forever and ever and ever until we can break through. So we're working on that. So yes, we would like to see libertarians elected. How are we going to do that? Well, first we need to run candidates. Then we need to get on the ballot. That's the hard part. Until we have enough Republicans and Democrats who think that the ballot access laws are unjust, I don't know if it's going to happen. That's really rough, isn't it? Because they're the ones in control of those issues. So we need to figure out how we can do this. So we have a lot of work to do. It's not just about, which I love to do, handing out literature at the public market, or having a convention once a year, or having our Liberty Forums. We do have a nice open forum discussion once a month, just so you know, called the Liberty Forum, and it's right over there at TC Riley's. Keep checking out our website for when those are. Those are fun. These are all great things, but what we need is people on the ground to collect signatures to get on the ballot, to help with fundraisers for our candidates, to actually just walk behind one of our candidates wearing their shirt or a sign, or just walk with them as they go door to door. Anything would help at this point. So with that being said, I'm going to step down from this podium and say thank you for listening, and I hope we can really see liberty in our lifetime.
One suggestion. Forget about running candidates in the city of Rochester.
Good idea.
The signature requirement is astronomical, and you can't campaign to a large enough percentage of the people. If you run someone in a small town, you run someone in a small town like Riga, where you get maybe 20 or 30 signatures to get on the ballot, then you've got all this time, and you got such a small number of voters to campaign to.
Agreed. We had a
But you
conversation
gotta
about
find someone
that.
who lives in that town.
Yeah, yeah, so anyone in the suburbs and you want to run for office, please let us know. Next up, we're going to have Shauna O'Toole, if she's ready, is going to come speak to us about, yeah, thanks Phil, let me see you. She's going to come speak to us about transgendered issues, transgendered rights.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
Before Drew steps down,
Uh,